So, all right. I think I'm able to record now. I pray this does not stop. So, I welcome us back to today's class. Last class, I spoke about the basics of how to use GitHub, how to sign up on GitHub, how to upload your project on GitHub, how to perform some certain function on GitHub, like maybe cloning of a repo. Probably you see an awesome project on GitHub and you just felt like you want to work with it, or probably try to replicate the same or learn one or two things probably while you are working on your project. So there's a way you can clone the repo to your laptop and try to see how it's being done, or probably you want to have access to the data. So I explained something like that last week, and I've made the recordings of the video to be available, so you can check the document or check the descriptions of our WhatsApp groups, so that you can just click on any of them to rewatch for better understanding, or probably if there is any way you don't really get any one of them. So today I started with uh, basics of SQL, also teaching how to write some basic query command, creating a table, how you can read or select a table, how you can make it to display. So today I'm going to start, because somebody messaged me that he wants me to re-explain how to work with schema or how to create a schema. So I'm going to do that today by trying to start all over again, creating a schema, creating a table, try to select a table out, and how to probably write some query to check, to do some analysis. Then I send a data to the group. So that particular data, I'm going to import it and work with it to perform some analysis on it, and for us to see how SQL also is being used to perform some certain analysis. So let me just I don't know, maybe okay my okay let me just click on it, so it's going to load. I believe every one of us had my SQL workbench already, so I've tried to pull it out. Then it's asking me of my password now, so I'm just going to give, don't forget, anytime it asks you the password, that's just like a password you use when you are installing your software. So immediately I give it password, now it's going to display. So it displays something like this. Now what I want to do now is by creating just like a database for IJAN students. So I'm going to start by creating a schema, then try to show us how you can insert some certain data in the table, then how you can perform some analysis with that particular data. Then also we're going to work on importing a data to another schema. So let me start by, we are already familiar with interface like this, so I'm going to drop, I have to drop all this schema so that I can start all over again. This is just some of the schema I've created. So now the only schema that we have now is this system, and it always comes with your MySQL. Once you install it, you're going to have this. So it's just natural, like it's just that's what it do. Like, okay, sorry for that. So automatically it's going to come with this particular system, this particular schema. So, and also at times, probably when you open your MySQL workbench, it may show something like this. Probably these are things you saw when you open it. You just go down here, you see where you see administration, you see schema. So you just click on schema. Once you click on schema, it's going to display something like this. And once it displays something like this, just place your cursor, your cursor or your arrow key or your mouse. Just place it here, then right click. When you right click, just come down, you see drop schema, you see create schema. So just click on create schema. When you click on create schema, it's going to come to this place and give you name is new underscore schema. So this, I'm going to clean this and put it as, okay, I just want to give it a name, ijan biodata, or probably ijan student biodata. So ijan student biodata. So after I've given it a name, so probably I should make this, okay, this is what I'm looking for. So after I've given it a name, I'm going to see, you see here a charted collection. So you can just leave it default here, default charted and default collation. So you can just click on apply. After that, click on apply. So once you click on apply, it will just tell you that the server is configured with this. Okay, you can just click on okay. Then it's going to show something like this. So in this algorithm part, you can just leave it at default. Then this log type, you can just give it as none. So immediately you give it at none, just apply here. So once you apply it, will tell you that SQL script was successfully applied to the database. So you just click on finish. So immediately you click on finish, you can just let me return this. So let me just leave it as a normal size. So you can cancel this from here. So once it has already been created, so now we have ijan student biodata as our schema. Then after creating that, you can just right click again, set that particular schema as default. Set as default, this is it. You click on it. Once you click on it, you can refresh it. You see table view, then stop procedure. So these are just like elements in it. You can click on this to create table. Then you can, I think, yeah, you can just create table by clicking on this, but you can also write query command by creating a table. So how can we do it? We said what we want to do is creating ijan student biodata. So that's the names of our schema, and I've set it, I think I've set it as default, because if I did not set it as default, it can actually be working with, okay, set as default. So now I want to create a table. How can I create a table? You start by using create table. Then the names of the tables I want to create, I can just call it biodata. Let me just call it biodata. I don't want to repeat IJAN biodata again. Then you open a bracket. You can open and close and try to just what is the first thing to use? You can set ID. You can just use ID. Okay, let me just use ID, or let me just use let me use ID. ID should be integer. Then let me say first name. First name is Cha. Okay, sorry. So let me just give it 40. So it's just like the length of what that particular. Okay, let me give it comma. So then first name, last name, var is equals to this. So then what else? We can probably go with the age also. Age, age. So age should be integer. Then what else? I can go with gender also. Gender is either male or female, so we can go with var character, which I can just make it also 40. So let me just leave it. Then let me say present. Okay, numbers of, okay, let me say attendance. Let me call it attendance. Attendance should be in number. So once it's in number, so we just need to use integer. Then probably let me use assessment score. Assessment score, let me use integer also. So these are just like the record we'll be working with in this particular example. So we are working with the ID, or probably I should just put student ID here, but it will not be in form of the student ID that you are given. So student ID, full name, first name, last name, age, gender, attendance, assessment. So these are just like what we want, like these are features we want to display in our table. So I can just this particular these features on this my SQL is used to run the query. So if I click on this now, it's going to I want to see how I can, so that we can see what is going on at the output part. So I want to pull it up. So now, just because, as you will see, the first thing I did when I started the class is by let me bring this back. Okay, the first thing I did is by dropping some necessary schema that we already have in this particular because I have some schema before, so I just have to drop, like I drop for sales analysis, for agent biodata sales. So this is just like me creating another one, and this is just the schema we're working with now, which is agent student biodata. So immediately I run this, it has run. So I should just do it in a way that I will be able to run other parts without running that particular side. But I don't still want to risk it in a way that I can be running it, and that is actually just like if I'm running it several times and it's just going to keep creating, and I don't want that to happen. So I will rather, just like we've seen it now, I'm going to clear this. This is the way we create a features in a table. Like we know this table is going to have student ID, first name, last name, age, gender, attendance, and assessment score. So this is it, and I've actually run it. So I'm going to clear this now, and the next thing is inserting of some, like we need to, because those things are just like names of features in a table, so we need to insert a value inside of it. Then how can you do that? You can do that by insert into, this is the keyword we use, insert into, the name of our table is let me okay, the name of our table is biodata. Let me just copy that because I may forget. Okay, let me just use, let me okay, so insert into biodata. Then what do you want to, what exactly we want to insert? Okay, I'm still going to sorry for going back. What is happening is that I may not be really sure about the names of the features, so I just want to just take note of them so that I will know how I'm going to insert value into it. Because if I did not know the names of the features, okay, I cannot clear it now. So let me start by insert. Okay, insert into, so the names of our table is biodata. So insert into biodata. Then what do we want to insert? We want to insert values. So after that, you open a bracket for each. So I need to check the name of, so the first thing I created is student ID, so I can just probably use 0.1 be 01001. So then I use first name. So the first name will now be, let me start by using my name. So then the last name, my last name is Abiodun. So Abiodun, then comma, what else? So after last name, we talked about age, so let me just put 30, comma, what else? We talked about gender should be male. So comma, what else? We talked about the attendance. Let me use 20. That is numbers of the times I've attended the class. So after that, what else? Assessment score, let me put 80. So then I'm going to close this bracket, then go for, so I'm going to do, what I'm going to do now is copy this so that it's going to save me some stress. So I'm just going to edit it. So I'm going to put 2 here. Then let me say okay, let me use Femi Oluwole. Then let me use 20 here. This person is also May. Let me use 24 as attendance, and let me use 60, or let me use 70 as score. Then let me pick another, so let me use 3, and let me use Omo Layo. Precious. Let me use 27, and the person is female, so let me use numbers of attendance 28. Then the person got 70, or let me use 90. Let me use 4. Akinloye. Gbemi Sola. Let me use 40. I'm just trying to okay, let me stop, just like I've done for 2 males and female, so I can just run this particular cell. So if I'm able to run it now, yeah, I think I've been able to do some things here. So I've been able successful here. I've been able to insert all these things into my table. Okay, probably I should just pause here. So is there any challenge with what I've explained so far, or should I just continue? Okay, you can just go ahead, because I cannot see, this has covered my screen, so you can just go ahead to speak if you are asking questions.
Okay. Hello. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah. My question, right? Why did you have to like clear the table you inserted before you started inserting the values and all that? Can't you just write it in the next number or something?
Okay, let me answer that. One thing about SQL is it depends on the laptop, and let me say my own, this window, especially this window, is a very bad laptop. Before I bought MacBook, so that's why I don't really use it anymore. So this is it. In some laptop, there's a way you can comment this out, that you can still run another code after that, and there are times that you can just highlight the one you want to run. That is, you can leave the one up, then you can just highlight the one you want to run. But at times you may be running it, and the function you perform, just like me creating a table initially, if I did not clear it and I run it again, it can also create another table. Like the more I'm running it, it's going to be creating. That is, even if I run this now, it's going to, like, there will be a repetitive value. That is, I've used Abayomi, used Femi, used Omolayo, used this. This will still come again. Like that is, it's still going to be inserted in that table. So, and I don't want that to happen. That's why I'm actually clearing it. So if it is a really good laptop, there's a way you can comment it out and it's not going to affect. So I don't just want to confuse. So create it, insert it, and that's why I'm just showing it, so that you know that okay, probably this is how to create, this is how to insert. So that's just what I'm just trying to do. So but there's a way you can, there's some that when you highlight it, it's going to work. You only highlight the one you want to run, and there are times that the more you run it, every code will just keep running, keep running, keep running every time. So hope I answer your question. Okay, anybody I want to speak, just speak, because I cannot see and I don't want to put this down. So
Okay. How do we possibly know a laptop that won't have to keep making our codes run over time continuously?
okay, what you do is, probably after creating it and you try to read it, you try to use select statement. So if it shows, like if it shows in a way, like I was watching a tutorial video one time when I was learning this particular stuff in previous times. Yeah. So there's the person's laptop, I think this, immediately this, the person click this, is going to turn the query here to comment, like it's going to comment it out. So it's not going to, so like what I can just say is, when you work with your laptop and you see the result is giving you, I think that's how you will know, because I know that this my own laptop, this window is bad sha. So I'm just because of this part, that's why I have to go back to it to be able to use it to teach. So because if I'm teaching with Mac, interface of Mac with this stuff is completely different. So and I don't want to confuse us. So that's why I just have to go back to it to use it for the class. Once majority of people here are using Windows, once you are like anytime you are working on it, just notice the result is giving you. So if it's keeping, like if it's keep, although you creating a table is not your work as a data analyst, it's only if, because okay, Nigerian company can be so funny, you doing this doing that, but initially as a data analyst they will only give you an access to probably a database where you can pull out, but that's just it sha. Because it's just like you are a data analyst now working for probably an e-commerce website, or probably an, so most of the time their record is on with their website or their database. And if you are working with SQL command, the only thing they can do is, if it's a big company, there will surely be a data engineer. Data engineer will be the one to pull out the data that you need. They will just give it to you. Giving it to you, your own work is just to analyze it. So but this one is just like you having the experience of how you can also create a table. So but initially it's not, because this SQL, so many tech stack, like we use it in, especially now if you are learning a backend development, you learn SQL, but the SQL you learn is how to create a schema, how to create a table, how to link a foreign key to a primary key, how, if there is a primary key, how can you fetch a so how those schemas of that database, how they are going to look like, that's the works of a backend engineer. And when it comes to a cyber security person, what he will be doing is how he can protect the database for somebody to, for, so that people will not hack into the database, just like how to encrypt or password, do some. So the functionality of everybody with database is actually different. So as a data analyst, your own work is to query out the data and perform some analysis on it, so that a company can understand. And at times you may, after doing it, you may have to export it to a Microsoft Excel, and try to do some visualization on it. And at times you may need to connect that database to a Power BI or a Tableau. That is, it will make it live anytime there is an if there is new record, so it's going to show in the dashboard. Like there's a way you link the database. They will give you a password to it. There's a way you can link it to your Power BI dashboard. But it's like the way you work with your laptop, that's when you'll be able to know that this what this. But me, I know that this window is something else. So that's just it, and I don't want to confuse anybody. That's why I'm just, once I create it, you know that okay, these the features, then how to insert a value inside of it. So this is how it's been done, and you too can follow the same process. Any issue with that or any question about it? Are we good?
Sorry, oh, sorry. I think I did someone. Mine is. Are you listening, sir? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, mine is far way back. But is this class being recorded?
Yes, it's being recorded.
Okay, don't worry. I'll watch the video too
Okay,
because it's like the
you
beginning
can
when
now.
we were creating.
Okay, it's from beginning. I will, if I'm to
Yes,
explain
that's why I
it.
said
Okay, okay. So
no.
it's
No, that's why I
being.
said asked if it was recorded. So
Oh,
I'll watch the video.
okay, okay. You can watch the video because
All
if I
right.
have to go back, I will still need to create another schema. So
Another yes. So that's why I said when I watch the video instead.
okay. Uh, Thanks for
All
that.
right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So after creating the schema, we create the names of the table, the features inside the table, and also we try to insert something. So now after running this, I will also need to clear it. I should, or let me just try to comment it then. So let's say, so that, let me try to comment the code and see what is going to happen. So now after inserting this value, I just want to read out or see what is going on in the table so that I can see how far I've gone, or probably what I'm working on is not so select star from the name of the table is about data. So let me just, so now so if we don't want to clear it, we can actually comment it out by using hash sign. So anytime you use the hash sign before those particular query command, it's going to comment it. It's just like the way we comment with Python code. So immediately you comment it, it's not going to run as a code anymore. So sorry, I want to plug. Okay. So immediately you comment it, just like the way I commented it now, it does not work anymore. So I think this will be the best option. But another problem is my SQL interface is clumsy. So if I write more and more now, we will not be able to see it just because there's some. So it's better at times to just clear it so that okay, if you are working on a project yourself, I think it's better you can comment it. But to use, like for me teaching now, if they would like as time goes on, you will not be able to see what I'm typing anymore because of the value up here. So but if I clear it, you will be able to see it clearly. So now you can see that we inserted this the student ID, the name, and you can see it here, which is we have student ID, first name, last name, age, gender, attendance, then assessment score. So we can see them here. And this particular select star, anytime you use star, that shows you want to see everything on your table or inside your table. So anytime you use star, I can just, if I don't want to see, I only work with 4, which is from 1001 to 1004. So, and this data is kind of short or small, that's why it's very very easy to see. I created a table up to like 100, 150. At times I may need to select some parts. Probably I want to work with male alone, or probably I want to work with female alone. I just want to see only male data or female data. So that's my concern. Or probably I want to even check maybe age range of 20 or lower than 20 or greater than 30. So I'm going to do some now before I started the way I can import data and see how we can perform some complex query analysis or query command. So I can do this. I can just say select first name. I can say select first name, comma, last name. So let's see what will happen here. So we can see here, just because I said select first name and last name, we can see that what we can see here is just like first names and last name. So anytime you are working on analysis, it may be like your major concern is just first names and last name. That's what you want to see. You want to hide the other part. You see, when I use select star, it display everything. So this is just like you performing some analysis. Probably you want to see some parts and you don't want to see some parts. So you can select you can even select only the first name alone. You can select the ID. You can select the gender alone. So from I can use where name. Okay, let me use where last name equals to Abiodun. So you see now that now it's making sense. Probably there is a record for a particular year or for a particular name that you want to see. So now I started with select first name, last name from biodata where last name is Abiodun. So the only thing it's going to look for is it's going to check the column where there is last name, like last name column, and it's going to look for Abiodun. So once he's able to see Abiodun, it's going to bring every details. So now if I want to go with this, so let me just say, let me use star instead of limiting it with first name. So let me just use select star, so that it's going to bring everything, but it's just only going to bring this. So let me run this. So you see now that this star brought everything, that is the names of all the features, that is student ID, first name, last name, age, gender, attendance, assessment, but it's where last name equals to Abiodun. So the only thing is working with is just like the last name. So once anything that the last name is not Abiodun, it's not going to show it. So we can also do something where let me say where age, okay, let's use age, where age is greater than 20. So let's use that and see what will happen. So now we can see that it brought everything that is great, like it work with age. That is, we can see here that it only things that we can see here is we see 30, we see 29, we see 40. That is, it's going to hide any age that is lesser than 20, and it's going to show us the age that is greater than 20. So it depends on what you want to see in your data. These are just like a way to minimize what you want to see, because data can be large, can be big, can be anything, and it may be difficult for you. This is just like basic analysis process when you are working with it. It's just like the way we work with Excel. It's just that their interface and their command are different, but the logic reasoning behind every tools is just the same. So like in Excel also, we can probably hide some parts. You may want to see, you may write some condition to probably show a age that is lesser than this or greater than this. So now we are just, probably the data is large and we are so concerned about age that are greater than 20. So performing this particular query command is going to show you. So now I can also change it to, let me change it to 30. Let me just change it to 30 to see. So now if I change it to, you will see that the only age that is greater than 30 is 40, which is Akinloye Gbemisola. So it's the only person that has the age that is greater than 30. So now we've worked with age. So I can also work with I can work with gender now. So I can just say gender equals to male. So I can use gender equals to male. So if I use gender equals to male, let's see what will happen. Let me run this. So you see now that me using select star from biodata where gender is equals to male, it gave us only male data. We can see that we only have gender which is male. So if you are working with a big data and your concern is only male, or probably married, single, marital status, but I'm just working on this particular data. So if your your gender focus is male, you can just use where gender equals to male. And if your gender focus is female, I can also use female. So if I use female here, you see that our result now is now female. So we are not seeing male anymore. So just because I use select star from biodata is the names of the table where gender equals to female. So because I use gender equals to female, it's going to, and you will notice something. If it is text, you have to put it in quotation. If I did not put it in quotation, it's going to give me error. So now I can also say where attendance is greater than 20, where attendance is greater than 20 or greater than 26, greater than 20. Okay, let me just say greater than 20. So now we want to probably, we can use this to probably screen some people out, or to know people that don't attend classes. Probably I have some record of students and I just quickly want to see the percentage or the numbers of people that attend classes, or the people that their attendance is more than 20. Probably I want to give them something, or so I can just use attendance is greater than 20. So once I run it now, it's just only going to display the one that has attendance that is greater than 20, which we have 24, 28, 27. So if I use greater than 24, these are just like you being able to see what is going on in your data. So now using attendance is greater than 24 is able to hide the one that the attendance are not up to 24. So now it's showing the attendance that is greater. So I'm just navigating through. I can also use it to check my assessment score. Assessment score is greater than, probably let me just say it's greater than 80. So that's the only one I want to see, the where the assessment score, or probably 80 is my pass mark. So if I run it now, the only people that will pass this course are just two, just because they are the only one that have the assessment score that is greater than 80. And we can see now is able to hide other part. These are just like basic analytical thinking. So I can check for the sum of the attendance, I can check for the sum of the attendance, I can check for the sum of, okay, let me even do sum for the attendance, and let me perform some sum average and see how everything is being done. So let me do that. Select, let me select attendance from let me start with mean. Let me call it as mean attendance. Oh, let me just call it as attendance. So select mean. So the mean of our attendance now is the minimum of our attendance, that is minimum numbers of people, like, or how can I put that, like the minimum attendance, like that is the minimum time that people attend the classes is 20. So if I want to check for maximum time that people attend classes, that is the person that have the highest, just want to see. So if I use max now, it gave me that the maximum attendance is 28, and I can also use average on it. So I can also use average on it. So let's just take notes on how I'm just performing all this query command. So the average attendance, or the average attendee, like the average time that people attend my classes is 24.755. So these are just like basic things we can perform on our data. Like we started by creating a table, inserting tables, and doing some little analysis on it. So now I'm going to import the data I share on the WhatsApp page, and we're going to look into it together. So let's do that now. So what I'm going to do is, by creating another schema, I'm going to clear this. So all we've been doing is inside this particular schema, which is IJAN student about data. So now I want to create another schema for what I want to do. So I will just create schema here, and I'm going to give that schema a name. So the name, I will just call it sales. Let me call it sales. So I'll click on apply. Then this log type, I will just give it none. So I will leave this as default. Then I'm going to apply it. So I'm going to finish this. Then it's already here. So it's already here, which is sales. So I'm going to click on it and click. I'm going to set it as default. Set as default schema. So once I set this as my default schema, okay, set as default schema. So after setting it as default schema, so I'm going to import. Let me close this. Okay, does not matter. So I'm going to new query. So I want to import I want to import a file. So I think, okay, you click on server. So you see we have file, edit, view, query, database. So on server, you just click on data import. So data import, clicking on data import is going to show something like this. So here you can just click on this second option, which is import from self-contained. So clicking on this, I'm going to click on this to look for the data. So it's going to bring me to my laptop, and I'm going to, this is the data here. So your data can be in document, download, and desktop. So here I've seen it already, so I'll just click on this now. It's already here. So what I want to do now is just to so I'm trying to, okay, you see something here telling me that start import. So I'll just click on it. Oh, I don't think I clicked the schema. Let me see. I don't know, maybe I click on the schema, but I'm going to see it now. If okay, let me just stop it. I should be able to stop it. Okay, let me just let me start that again. So let me click on server. From server, you click import. So import from disk. So then you click this. So click this, then this default target schema. So I have to click, which is sales. I think that's the mistakes I made. So I'm going to wait for it to load. Yeah, I think it has loaded now. So I'm just going to, once it has complete, I believe we're still following me. Hello, are we still following me? Hello. Okay, okay,
Yes, so
just to be sure, that's why I'm just trying to. So now, after I've created the schema and I've imported the data into the schema, just like the data I sent to the WhatsApp page. So immediately I have done that. So let me just bring this to the normal size. So now I have the sales here, which is the names of the schema. So I can refresh it, and let me just try to set it as the first schema again. So after doing this, I can click on, let me click on this to check my table. So now I already have something on my table, so which is customer. Inside that particular, it's just like the way we would do work with Excel data. Inside Excel we can have so many, but in this one there's a way they do it, that inside that particular dump file you have maybe a table for customer, a table for data, a table for market. It depends on how the data is, but in this one we have for customer, we have for date, we have for market, we have for product, we have for transaction. So I can click on it, I can manually click on it and right click and select row limit of 1000. So I can do this and it's going to run. You see now, from that particular data that I imported, you see just by me clicking on it, and so by the instead of me typing. Okay, somebody want to ask a question? Hello, if you
Bayamini, good evening. Thank you. Thank
good
you for the
evening.
class.
Okay.
So on that default schema, is it necessarily we should use the same name to that table, or we can choose different names like MySQL or any other default name as it is?
Yeah, you can use any name, because this one I created the name, like I was the one that created the schema to be sales. So you can use another name, but inside the data I imported, this we have already customer, date, market, product and transaction. This one is inside the data, I cannot alter it. It's only if I want to clean it. They came with the data, but the names of the schema, I was the one that created it, and I started with agents to then this is just like me creating a schema, creating a table, inserting value inside of it. But when it comes to this one that I want to import data, I perform the same operation by creating a schema. That schema can be any name, but note something: anytime you create a schema, always set it as default. If you don't set it as default, it's not going to, like, you may face some challenge, because what you are running may not run inside a schema that you created. So it's always better to create a schema and set it as default, so that anything you are running will be that you are working inside that particular schema. You are not working outside the schema.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I believe everybody is picking it up. It's just like the way Excel and Python. It's just their command are just different. So now you can click on customer. So this is just like customer. And this sales that you are seeing there, you see that select star from sales.customer. This sales is the names of the schema, while the customer is the names of the table. So before you can see customer, you have to use the name of the schema, that is sales.customer. So I can also check the market. I can click on market, then right click and select the row limit of 1000. So if I click on that, you see it give me something which is market name. We have channel, we have zone which is south, we have this, and I can also click on transaction and select this stuff also. So it's still going to, these are just like data inside that particular table. So and now once I have access to it, I can just start performing some magic. Okay, somebody want to ask a question?
Good evening.
Good
I want
evening.
to ask, instead of doing this select task, like based on the previous example you showed before before bringing this data set, you said we can do, take for example, select customer from sales.
Yes.
Okay, so why did you not follow that step? Why this dots?
Okay, thanks for asking that question. So selecting it, like me clicking on it, you will see that immediately I click on it, it writes something here, it wrote something here, select start from sales dot. So if I did not click on that, this is what I have to write before this can display. So it's just like I'm saving myself stress of writing the query. That's why I just select it, and it automatically writes what I'm like, what I should write. So just like select star from, and you will notice something. The other time we are not creating a like different table inside the schema. That's why we are able to use select star from the particular table, and it's going to bring it out. But now there is 4 table inside this particular schema, so you have to use the name of the schema dot the name of the table, so that you will be able to work with it differently. Now like previous one is just one, now we have different table, so you have to use the schema dot the transaction. So now if I use sales dot date, just like
Dot date.
if I use dot date, like, and now I run it, you see what will happen here. So let me run it now. So you see now that it's just like I'm clicking on it, I did not click on it, they will also work the same way. So now clicking on sales.date, it display this. If I click on this, okay, let me use dot customer and let me go by clicking on it and see what will happen. Dot customer, so this dot customers, right? So if I click on this, it's going to bring dot customer. So if I click on it, if I don't click on it, so now I just want to try the date again. Let me click on date and do select row limit of 1000. You see that it's changed what is here before it was customer, now it has changed to date. Do you get it now? If I type it out,
I I just want to know what's the difference between select customer from sales, or select any of those elements from sales. What's the difference between that one and this method you are using now? Is there any difference?
and that's what I'm saying. Initially we are working with a single table. Now the table we are working with is
Okay.
4, so you have to be using dot something before you can be able to see it. It's just getting more
Oh,
complex.
okay.
Before it's just one, but now we are like, if I just use select star from date, it may not pick it out. So to be on the safer side, you use the schema first, then dot the names of the table.
Okay, can you just try? Can you just try it? Let's see first. Like select customer from sales.
Okay, select customer from sales, abi. Okay, let me
Yeah,
do
customers. Yeah.
let me do what my oga said from
I'm not your girl.
so select customer from sales, abi.
Yes.
Okay, but do you know that even this query that you tell me, according to our previous thing I explained, is not right? So do we see anything? Do you see anything as
Okay,
at now?
no.
So and also
No.
this thing too, let me just correct you about something. So select, this is, if you notice something, the time we are working with this agent student biodata, I'm just selecting from biodata, not IJAN student biodata, because IJAN student biodata is the schema, while the table inside IJAN student biodata is biodata. So if I click on it now, you will see what we have. You see the table here, we have biodata. So any select that I'm doing, that I did here, if you check very well, I'm selecting from biodata, not from IJAN biodata, IJAN student biodata, because this IJAN student biodata is the name of the schema, while biodata is the name of the table. If you want to query anything out, your main focus is the table, not the schema, because you are performing the operation inside the schema. But when the name, like when you now have multiple tables inside the schema, that's why you need to make your schema dot the table, so that you are more direct to what you are doing. I don't know how, like you are more specific rather, that okay, out of these multiple tables inside this particular schema, this is the one I want to work with. That's why we are now using the name of the schema dot the name of the table. That is, inside this schema, I only want to see customer, I only want to see date, I only want to see market, I only want to see product, I only want to, that's, you are just being specific by using the name of the schema dot. I can also do it also with this, but I need to let me use this also as default, so that I'll be able to do something. So let me set it as default. Okay, so now I can do something. Okay, let me click on it. Okay, you can see now that there is something that happened here just because I clicked that. You see now that what it happens here is IJAN student biodata, which is the names of the schema, dot the table, which is biodata, and it's just because this one is only one here, which is biodata. I can also create another one just like this sales. It has multiple tables like customer. I think this one is just the, you will see. Then I did not bother to use the name of the schema just because it's just one, but just because I select that stuff, it just select it for me as that is the name of the schema dot the name of the table. But if you don't use it in this situation, it's going to work perfectly fine. But in this kind of manner where we have multiple table, if you do it, I don't think it's going to work. It may give you an error. So it's better when you are working with a multiple table, you are trying to use the name of the schema with the name of the table. Is that clear?
Okay, yeah, it's fine. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So all these things, you just, after the class, just download the video. I will, just because I'm recording it, I'm going to upload this, and I'm going to upload this very fast so that I will be able to watch it. I'm going to upload it very fast. So let's go back to our main focus. Let me set it again as default. So set schema as default. Okay, I believe SQL is more interesting than Python.
Yes, very interesting.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, I prefer this one. I prefer SQL. That Python still is scatter my head for it now.
And me, I can't like Python than SQL.
Um, I think SQL is more interesting.
Okay. Okay. At least once you are able to see the one that interests you, just need to learn it more and more and more. It's good to actually have an interest. So once you know that SQL is your interest, and another thing is, once you have passion and interest in something, it will give you more joy to learn it more and more. So it's good. It's good to learn it more. I think it's not really complicated like Python also. Python is more complicated than this. So let's go back to, let me just click on the transaction, select multiple. So now after clicking on it, select start from sales.transaction. We are able to see this, which is we have product code, we have customer code, we have market code, we have order date, sales quantity, we have sales amount, then we have currency. So here, one thing to really validate here is, okay, it's even more feasible. We have India rupee there here, and we have USD. So if we are performing anything, you know that okay, sales quantity or probably sales amount that is here, they are not in the same currency. As a data analyst, you must not present something like this or works on a project whereby the currencies are different, and you know the amount, just like if you want to get the calculation, that is the addition of everything, and you give the addition of this and the currency is in different currency, that's a problem. So the result can never make sense, because it's just like somebody is calculating a certain amount, and there are some in dollars and some in naira, and you are summing everything together. Even a single dollar is maybe 740 or 737. So $75 we, if you change $75, I think it's 55,000 or something. So if you are now adding that particular same currency at the same this thing without converting it, there will surely be a problem. So once, and this one is kind of easy and feasible, just because you can see it clearly, that is you have USD and you have India rupee. So this is it. Now you have two options. Is either you change India rupee to USD, or you change USD to India rupee. So any of your choice, so that you'll be able to perform you'll be able to add it or sum it or know the total sales or perform some basic critical analysis. And also we can see -1 here. Will it be possible to have a -1 as sales amount? Is that possible? And here we are not talking about profit. If we are talking about profit now, we may just feel like the money is like probably the person run into loss instead of making profit. So if we see minus something there, we will not really bother ourselves, just because we'll be thinking that okay, probably is a loss, not the person is gaining or so. But here they are talking about sales amount and we are seeing -1, so something must be done to that as a data analyst. So you probably remove it or add it, or just, so it's just like basic analysis and analytical thinking. So as we proceed, so those are just like things we need to notice while working on our data. And most of the time you can be with your jotter and your pen trying to check something and see what is not right. Just like me too, I want to check my notes now. See something. So you may check, like once you are doing it, you just have to be checking, to be making sure that, because as a data analyst it's just like a medical doctor. If you provide a wrong details or a wrong result, is actually it can bring a company down. If they listen to your advice and what you are doing is not right, so it can bring them down. They just listening to you is something new. So we've seen the customer, we've seen the date, we've seen the market, we've seen the product. Okay, have we seen the product? Let me click on the product also. Let's see what is going on in our product. So select this, and you can see the product we have here. We have own brand, and I think So I cannot see others, but we can still we can still walk around checking others. So we check market also. Let me check others. So we have zone, we have market name. So we can perform just like now. We are just working on this data. We don't really know how large or how big it is. How can we do that? We can do that by using count. To count, just like we knowing the numbers of data we are working with. So just the number. So we can do that on, and don't forget that this, like, we have some text and we have some numbers. Like customer now is, I think customer has some text, but the basic one a that has number is transaction. So transaction cannot be in. Okay, let me even try to check the transaction and see what is there again, if I can remember. Okay, I can use, okay, let me just check the numbers of rows that we are working with. So now using this particular count, we can see that we have 150,000 rows and 283. So 150,000 row, 286. So that's just like the how large or how big our data is. So we can also do it for every one of them. Let me just copy this. So let me copy it. That's for, or okay, let me just start here. So let me start from the first one. Okay, we can see for customer we only have 38. So that is, these stuffs are not the same. So it's not as big as transaction. So for customer we only have 38. Let me check for date. Let me check for date. So date is 1126. So let's check for market. So market is also 17. How about products? So products we have 279. I think I've checked transaction before, but I can still work around it also. It's just getting to know more of our data. Then after that, and also just like when we are working with Python the other time, so there's a way you can make a limit. This is just like a limit of 1000. So you can just define your own limit of 5 or probably limit of 4. So if I use this now, So you see now that you can, when we are working with Python, then there's a way we read only uh the first four, or so here too we use limit. Just then I think we use dot head to see maybe the first five, or so you can also see the first 10, the first two, the first three. So but here you'll be using limit. So we use limit in working with Microsoft. I said Microsoft. We use limit when we are working with uh query command. So we can also perform this because we have different database. We have MySQL, which we are using MySQL here. We have Postgres, we have MariaDB, we have MongoDB. We have different kind of, we have BigQuery. So it's just any one of your choice you can work with. So they follow the same command. Once you are good with one, you'll be able to transfer the knowledge to another one. So let me try to check something now. So here I want to check something. Okay, so let's start from this, where market code is something, or probably I want to check okay. So using 001 now is able to provide me all the market code with 0001. So, and I can actually, because here it is kind of difficult for me to know what is going on, or how many the market code I use is 001, or I can also use 002. Let me even see if 002 exists, or let me even put 004. So that shows we still have 004. So it's just like we have market code of 001, 002, 003, 004. So we have different, like, just continue like that. But now I may want to see the count. Okay, let me just count for, just like the way we use count the other time, just to check the sum, that is the total numbers of market code. So is like 44,442. So 442 44,442 rows of data has 004. So let me check for 001 and see the number. So this, like, for 001 is just 1035. So this is not really much. It's not really much. So now I want to check, because the other time we were talking about checking the currency, and I told us that some currency is in India rupee and some is in USD. So I have to probably check the numbers of currency that is in USD, and probably the one in India rupee. So how can I do that? It's just like how we are using our where command, or where keyword, where currency equals to USD. So we can see here that this particular data only has, like when we are talking about USD now, the only currency that has USD is just two. So probably they made a mistake, or the person that purchased this particular item paid in dollars instead of India rupee. So we can see that out of the entire rows we only have two. And what can we do about it? Should we drop it? Or so these are just like data validation, checking what is going on in our data and probably look into what we can do to it. So we can see that we only have two USD. Then the others are okay. Let me check for the India rupee, and let me even sum it to see the number. India rupee. So India rupee, let me sum it by using count. So we have 279, and let me see, okay, USD. We already know that we only have two, so he's able to count the numbers of USD that we have, and we can see here that we have only two. So what can we do? And another thing that we also like to say is that, these particular tables are just inside this table. We have customer, we have date, we have market, we have product, we have transaction. So if we want to perform some analysis on them, we have to combine them together, because some of them and they are linked to each other. Just like when I started, I was talking about primary key, foreign key the other time. So primary key is just like a unique ID to a particular table, while the foreign key is just like there's a way. Just like now, if there's a database for IJAN students, so there will be a database for all the IJAN, because in IJAN we have data analysis, we have full stack, we have front end, back end, we have, I think some are taking a language, some are taking different kind of courses. So creating a database for all the IJAN and creating inside that particular database, there is a link that let me say, creating a database for a data analysis student in IJAN, then creating a database for full stack students in IJAN, creating a database for people that they are learning language in IJAN. So after creating those database individually, there is now a way to now put them that when they now want to search for their name in a general database of IJAN students, something will link them from the general database to the database of their course, that is their niche. So there's a way it works, that there's a unique ID for everybody. So that unique ID, just like your ID, school ID, that unique ID, when we bring that to a database, is called a primary key. That is a unique identity for you. It's called a primary key. So that primary key will now be linked to a foreign key in the general table. So there's a way it works, especially for you to perform some joint. We have inner join, we have outer join, we have just like especially if we've heard about all these set in mathematics. So we have union, we have intercept. So it's just like how it works. We have outer join, we have inner join, we have is it outer inner join. So all those particular, because at times you may need to merge two tables together for you to be able to perform some analysis on them. So you may need to work around joining them together. So what I still want to say, so you shall knowing the primary and the foreign key and how you can just join them, so it helps a lot. And this particular foreign key and primary key, at times it can be one to one. So there's a way this particular link ID can be one to one, it can be one to many, it can be many to one. So there's a way we work around them, so that you know how you can, especially it's more important for people that design database. And as a data analyst, I don't think you'll be designing a database. So you just need to have the idea and know how to, probably, if especially if you are planning to work for a big tech company, so they may want to text you on writing some mad or crazy query command whereby you need to map maybe one to one, do all this, maybe like inner outer join, do some, so all those ones, because they only believe that if you can solve all those things, you are smart or you are intelligent. They don't really believe much on the project you've done. They only take your project, can only make them to shortlist you for interview. So what they believe in most of the time is the ability to write some crazy, is either using programming language, probably Python or R, or using SQL. So then they can, so I would just encourage us to learn more about them. So learn more about primary key, foreign key, joint, which we have inner join, outer join, inner outer join. I think we have left join also, we have right join, and this link into one to one, one to many, and many to one. So most of them, for us to have a better and clear understanding. So because if we focus on SQL alone, we can use 3 months to learn SQL, how deep it is. But we can only just do what we can, just for us to build a background that we can further on our own, or probably learn on projects. So I want to combine both. I want to check
Sorry,
something
Mr.
on.
Bayemi, I can't hear you. Please,
Yeah,
I can't hear you, sir.
I'm not speaking. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. But you can hear me now.
Okay, very well, very well.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything at all. So I just want to type something. I just want to type this out. So I think I've typed what I want to type out. So now I want to, just like as I said the other time, I want to perform a join. This particular table is just like we have customer, we have date, we have market, we have product, we have transaction. So we can probably join them. We can join customer with dates, we can join market with product, we can join product with transaction, we can join market with transaction. Probably you want to know if transaction and market are the same, or they have correlation, they have something in common. Okay, I should not use correlation, I should use probably something in common. If they have something in common, so there's a way you can join them. And note that if they do not have anything in common, you cannot join them. So they must have something in common. So that's why I'm talking about primary and foreign key. So primary and foreign key is just like, okay, just like somebody give birth now, and how can I, just like maybe like this is a family and another family, family A, family B. Family A probably gave one of his daughter or son to family B. So initially family B and family A, something has linked them together, which is probably their daughter or their son. So the way the table works is just like, if there is a table now that has a primary key, foreign key, there will be something inside another table, which is just like now we have customer, we have date, we have market, we have product, we have transaction. So in customer table, there can be a primary key that link customer to transaction. So if we want to combine both customer and transaction together, we must note that something is there that connects each and every one together, because if there is nothing, there is no way you can combine them together. So here now I'm selecting sales.transaction, that is working with transaction table. Then also sales.date, which is I'm working with date table. Then also from, can you see I'm selecting sales transaction, that is sales is the schema name. I'm selecting the transaction from the schema, and also I'm selecting the date also, that is I want to work with transaction and date, know some dates that transaction is being performed. Then also I want to perform some inner join by joining both the date and the transaction together. That is, anytime we are working with transaction, is important to know the date of those transactions. It may be useful in our analysis. So checking for the date of each transaction. So working with that, then inner join of sales date on sales transaction order date. You see now that joining it, I'm using on sales dot transaction dot order date. That is order date and transaction dot date. There is something in common. Inside transaction we have order date, which is this order date. So this order date and this order date is just like a foreign key here, linking to date in inside a date table. So after that, okay, I've talked about that date. You see now can you see now I use on sales dot transaction order date equals to sales dot date dot date. That is date inside the sales, and order date is the one linking to date. So if there is nothing that link the two of them or something that resemble, that is order date is a date, which date also is the date. So now we are performing an inner joint on sales dot transaction dot order date equals to sales dot date dot date. So now let's run this and see what will happen. Although after this command I will stop for today and probably we walk around. So now you will see now that something happened now. Before, this is not what we've been seeing. You see now that our transaction always stops at currency, which is it will just give us product code, customer code, market code, order date, quantity. Then it always stops at this currency. Now we've already added date, CY date. I don't even know the full meaning of this. So we have here, we have month name, which is October. We have date, year and month. So now this table is getting more bigger by combining the date and the transaction. So it's very easy now to keep the track of our transaction with the date and the year, or probably the month. So here is where I'm going to stop for today. Probably in the next class we'll perform more analysis on SQL, and I just want SQL to end this week. So by Thursday what we will be able to do again, so that's when we're going to stop SQL. Then next week we are starting Power BI. So in maybe 2 weeks we'll be able to finish Power BI also, and then we can call this cohort we can say goodbye to this cohort. So any question based on what the magic we've performed tonight? But at least I see that people like SQL, so it will be fun. So you want to ask something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, when you were doing count for USD and India rupee, I noticed for the India rupee you got 258 as the total count, while USD is 2. But how come the total transaction count is 150 something thousand? So I don't know the mathematics behind it.
Okay, this will happen. SQL data is not like Excel data. So the general schema is housing a data of different length. Customer has his own length, date, and you see that's why they are not joined together. They have different length or different row. So it's not about probably any mathematics or something. It's like those datas are different. So that's why even when you want to combine them, you have to be very careful about it. So transaction data is, I think, is bigger than product or something. So most of them, they are different. Like the numbers of rows, they are different. So that's why when you are combining them, you must try to check, because you have more missing value in those particular table if you had them and they are not of the same size. So this particular data, just like customer date, market, they are of different sizes. So that's why you just need to note the one you combine.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So any more question? Any more question?
My own question is that apart from this data validation, the filter process, what are the other aspects in which we can use data analysis to for this SQL? And then we haven't talked about updates. We haven't talked about maybe edits or something like that. So I think we are just doing data validation only through this SQL process.
Okay. Basically, what I've been doing also, as a data analyst, you have to validate your data, that is, know what is going on. And after knowing what is going on, that's when you'll be able to know what you want to drop or probably what you want to clean. And when it comes to MySQL, there is no visual here, there is no chart here. The only thing you can do is to do data validation, do some basic analysis. The analysis you are doing sef is just for you to know what is going on and probably know what to clean or what to drop. So after that, the what we do is by exporting it to Excel or probably connecting it to Power BI. You see something here, export. So if I click on this export now, it can export this file. This file, the combination of this file, I can, once I click on export record now, I can export it to Microsoft Excel, then take it. Then after exporting it to Microsoft Excel, I cannot go and do pivot table on it or probably doing other things. And also I can also export it in a way that I'll be able to use it in my Power BI or Tableau, or there's a way I can connect my Power BI or Tableau to it, that I'll be able to perform some dashboard in Power BI or Tableau using the data in the MySQL. So basically what you use MySQL is to do is joining all this data together. After joining them, be able to remove something, clean something, or change some things. That's basically what we do. And this is just like, maybe is it second class on it, so I don't want to bombard anybody with. So it's just like next class now we'll do more by trying to work with some things. This is just like me checking. I cannot, today I can even me sef, I'm tired of talking as I am, so I cannot just within 2 hours and try to do everything. So I just have to take it step by step. So today, this is just what we can achieve today. Then probably in the next class we'll try to figure out some. But basically MySQL or any database, they are not used for visualization. The only thing you can do is join table together, then change some stuffs, clean some stuffs, understand what is going on, then export it to Excel to use it to do some analysis in Excel, or probably export it to Power BI or connect Power BI or Tableau to it. So that's basically what they do with it. So hope I answer your question. So any more question? Hope I answer your question. Do we have question more? So if there is no question, then probably we should call it a night. So I'm going to, this class is being recorded, so I'm going to upload it to YouTube, then share the link to, I will share the link with us in case you want to rewatch it and see what is going on, or probably practice it again. So if and I promise to release the result of the assessment. I've just been so carried away with a lot of I will try. This week must not pass without me doing it, so I'm going to do it and probably give us feedbacks on it. And also about putting people in team for the final project. So and I think I've give the time for assessment, the quiz, so I'm still going to work on the question also. So I'm going to share a link to the quiz where you go and do it, and I'll be able to track what everybody scored. So if there is no question, good night everybody.
Good night.